Why, hello there. It's a glorious Friday. We made it to the end of the week. A round of applause. All right, you can stop clapping now. This weekend's going to be a glorious weekend because we got something to celebrate. Justice prevailed. The people of Kenosha has spoken, and they found Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty on all 5 charges, or the remaining charges, since a couple of them have been dropped, which is good news. That means that self-defense is still a thing. Second Amendment is not being infringed on by law or a court of law, which is great, which is awesome. We should be celebrating that the people of Kenosha made the right decision. Although, there's some people that don't agree. They really don't. They really don't. They do not agree. For one, our wonderful President 46 or 40 shat. That's right. Mr. Joe Biden did a statement on his verdict. I get that he has an opinion. He's entitled to his opinion. He's entitled to his free speech, just like any other elected official out there. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to criticize you, especially for being a public official, being the top person on the food chain. And yes, I kind of got into the game late when it came to Trump, but he has had some dumb things too. But this one takes takes it, all of it. While it's this sentence right here. While the verdict in Kenosha will leave many Americans feeling angry and concerned, myself included, man, you're behind. You're there's nothing for you to worry about. You got Secret Service for life to handle that. Myself included, we must acknowledge that the jury has spoken. Rightfully so. I ran on a promise to bring Americans together because I believe in what unites us is far greater than what divides us. I know we're not going to heal our country wounds overnight, but I must remain steadfast in my commitment to do everything in my power to ensure that every American is treated equally with fairness and dignity under the law. I urge everyone to express their views peacefully, consistent with the rule of law. Violence and destruction of the property have no place in our democracy. Where were you last year while cities burned? Where was your vice president as city burns? I remember the vice president creating a foundation to get people out of jail who were caught destroying property. That's right, they were destroying property and you let them out of jail. Your vice president endorsed that behavior. The White House and federal authorities have been in contact with Governor Evers' office to be prepared for any outcome in this case. I have spoken with the governor this afternoon and has offered support and any assistance needed to ensure public safety. Well, you know, if Evers accepted Trump's offer to have National Guard and actually paid for them on the federal level, we wouldn't have this verdict. There wouldn't have been a trial of Kyle Rittenhouse because the governor would have done his job. I think it's a him. It doesn't really matter. He's a POS politician. For political reasons, declined the help of a sitting president while their city burned, while their state burned. I'm sorry, I'm a little bitter. Then, of course, we got Mr. Penguin here. Rep. Nadler. This is a heartbreaking verdict of miscarriage of justice and sets a dangerous precedent which justifies federal review by the DOJ. Justice cannot tolerate armed personnel crossing state lines looking for trouble while people engage in their First Amendment protection protest. I don't think starting fires and burning buildings, burning cars, breaking windows is protected under the First Amendment. Last time I checked, those were criminal acts under any jurisdiction. I'm not protected by the First Amendment. I mean, if they were marching and they were annoying and there was a mess to clean up because they threw trash on the ground, just like any other event, whether it's a protest or a concert or just a Veteran Day parade, there's just trash left behind, which is tolerable, is accepted. What is not accepted under the First Amendment protection is to cause havoc, or just havoc, or havoc, as Richard said, during the trial, beating people up, destroying property is not the First Amendment protection. That was not a protest, that was a riot. And the fact that you just ignored all that to say a person crossing the state line, this is something I did not know until the trial. I did not know that Kyle Rittenhouse had family in Kenosha. I did not know his father lived in Kenosha. He had family ties in Kenosha. I just thought he worked in Kenosha because he lived in a border town that borders Illinois and Wisconsin. I did not know that. So he didn't just cross state lines. He actually lived there. But of course, my favorite response to this from BalcomX. I don't know if he has a YouTube, but he definitely has a Twitter. I read somewhere that Rittenhouse is just an idea. Yeah, that's it, just an idea. As you can see, he's got over 14,000 likes and 51 retweets and 5 quote retweets. It's the best line. Anything you guys say against Nadler, this is all you guys say. Because he said Antifa is just an idea, which causes havoc and riots. And you know, nothing will go without a famous writer, you know. So, a white guy goes free. Is that the message? No, a justice was served. Justice of self-defense. We have the right to self-defense. That was the message. But of course, you know, Stephen King just hates guns. Unless they're in his movies, then it's all fair game. And of course, we have the ACLU, which for once upon a time, they were protecting free speech and, you know, making sure laws were applied equally. But I guess they've been hijacked by people that want to distort the truth and make everything racist when it's not racist. Breaking Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty of fatally shooting two and injuring another during the protest of the shooting of Jacob Blake by Kenosha Police Department, which was not charged by the same DA. The same DA that was wrongfully charging Kyle. This situation represents an outrageous failure to protect protesters by Kenosha Police Department and Kenosha County Sheriff's Office, which I agree. But the mayor and the governor did not want help from Trump, so therefore their city burnt, which unfortunately led to this event where a 17-year-old kid thought it was necessary to help people. Put out fires, clean up graffiti, because the law and the government collapsed and failed. Not just Kyle, but everyone there. Months of research and open records requests have uncovered many incidents in which police encourages white militia members to become armed vigilantes in the streets due to their failure to control the crowd. It's not about race. Not about race, but I know you want to make it about race. Despite Kyle Rittenhouse's conscious decision to travel across state lines and injured one person and take the lives of two people protesting the shooting of Jacob Blake by police, he was not held responsible for his actions. Unfortunately, this is not surprising. Unfortunately, it's not surprising that the ACLU is making it about race. His acquittal comes after our investigation exposed how Kenosha law enforcement used violence against protesters and drove them towards white militia groups in ways that escalated tensions and almost certainly led to these shootings. Now, the fact that there was no National Guard deployed by the governor, the fact that the mayor and the governor allowed these protests to become riots, led to the shooting. It had nothing to do with race. They created a volatile, or they had a tinderbox that added fuel, and then a fire happened, metaphorically and physically. When the community rose up to exercise their First Amendment right to protest after the police shot a black man in the back in front of his children, police enabled white supremacist militia members, and the result of this failure was bloodshed and loss of life and trauma. No one should be targeted, threatened, or attacked for exercising our First Amendment right to protest. It is our right to protest and demand justice. We'll be watching to ensure no one, including law enforcement, interferes with that right. And as Reimagine public safety, that's a bunch of horseshit, to be honest. Reimagine public safety means that you got community policing, which means you're going to have a bunch of racist people patrolling their neighborhoods, making sure they get mob justice. Reimagine public safety is mob justice. We need to create solutions that extend to the safety of all communities, including those that have been systematically neglected and preyed upon. Does that include white trash? Well, I mean, not white trash, but trailer parks too? Does that include high schoolers that are being targeted while they go to college to get loans that are ridiculously high interest rates? Does it include that too? I mean, I know you're making about race because that's the only card that you have to play to stay relevant. That's the only way that people are going to donate money to your foundation, is to make everything about race, which is not true. So, yes. And of course, I guess that's the same one. I guess they added to that one. Then, of course, we get the black races. If Kyle Rittenhouse case is not ultimately about the maintenance of systematic white supremacy, then can someone name any case where a black person was acquitted for doing the exact same thing? A black judge was allowed to engage the trial the same way Schroeder has? Tupac. I named one person. Tupac. Tupac. Yeah, he's a famous rapper. Unfortunately, he's dead right now. But I believe he shot a cop and walked free. Tupac shot a cop and was found not guilty. There, I named your one person. Now you can shut up being racist. Then, of course, we got New York Mayor. The verdict is disgusting and sends a horrible message to this country. No, it actually sends a wonderful message to the country that we still have the right to self-defense. Where's the justice in this is because, as I stated, we have the right to self-defense. We can't let this go on. We need stronger laws to stop violent extremists from within our own nation. Now is the time. I'm just gonna have this up here for a while, This is the people that he shot. I'm just saying he was shot. I don't know if any of these assaults are legit, but they weren't pillars of the community. They weren't just protesters. They were out looking for mayhem. Just saying. Just saying, just saying. But, it's not all doom and gloom. I do got a couple of good tweets. Tulsi Gabbard, that should be our vice president, if not president. I'm saying it's someone that voted for Trump. Tulsi Gabbard would have been a lot better president than what we have now. I don't agree with everything she says. I don't agree with her stance on abortion. Well, maybe I do, but I don't agree with her stance on on gun laws. The jury got it right, finding Rittenhouse not guilty on all charges. The fact that charges were brought before any serious investigation is evidence that the government was motivated by politics, which in itself should be considered criminal. That's right. That's pretty base. Pretty base of her. I mean, she's going out swinging. You don't have to like her or agree with her, but she is speaking truth right here. Kyle Rittenhouse should never have been charged because it was clear self-defense. I'm not going to say it was perfect self-defense. It was just clear self-defense. Then, of course, we got this one, which is just a meme. It is now our responsibility to rub salt in all wounds. That's right. I get why people don't like Kyle. I get it. He's a white person that shot some white people at a racially motivated protest. And people might have strong opinions. People want this person in jail. People want to blame everything on him. And now they want to go after his parents. They want his parents to be held responsible for having a minor out on the street with an AR-15, which was his legal right to have. Because if it wasn't, that charge wouldn't have been dropped. I think it was actually the barrel length. And they weren't. Once they were challenged that they were going to do a tape measure to make sure it was a legal length, the prosecution dropped that charge because it was trumped. It was trumped up charges. Then, of course, the best one. I don't know if it's the best one, but it's definitely a good one. Rittenhouse Sandman agreed to share joint custody of CNN. I don't know if Kyle Rittenhouse has I think he does have a case against the media. Unfortunately, the media is a very hard entity to sue because of the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press. There's definitely a lot of legal hurdles to get a settlement. I think Sandman got lucky. I think he was the exception to the rule and not the normal. Even though I disagree, I think it should be the norm. I think we should hold the media accountable for the lies that they spread. And I do say lies. Sometimes they flat out lie, saying that Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines with an AR-15, ignoring the fact that the gun never left the state of Wisconsin. Never left the state of Wisconsin. But, that's kind of what the lie is. And of course, you got lying through omission, which is where you only tell part of the story in this fictitious story. You got a black man and a white man walking down the street. The black man and the white man gets to a crosswalk because an intersection. The white man goes onto the other side of the street, which is true. I mean, in this hypothetical story or fictitious story, that really happened. What the news doesn't tell you is the man was walking across the street because he wanted to go to the store that was across the street, or he was meeting up with his kids or a family member or friends. They leave that part out to stroke the race card. It says, can't we believe we live in a day and age where a white man is afraid to walk on the same side as a black man? And that's how they spin it. Instead of reporting the whole truth, a man just walking across the street to meet someone or go to a store, they leave the important part out and implied the worst in people. And we as people need to be better. We as people need to see the truth for what it is and not what someone else interprets it. Anyways, this is a long video, especially on a Friday. It's a glorious Friday. Hopefully you watch to the end. With that being said, leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. Do you believe the nonsense from certain political members saying that injustice was served today? Or was justice served? Do you agree with the verdict? Or did you want Kyle Rittenhouse to rot in prison for the rest of his life? Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are and what And also why. I want to know why you chose that. I have my reasons, but I want to know your reasons. With that being said, please smash the like and subscribe button on all platforms, or just the platform that you're currently watching. But most importantly, have yourself a glorious weekend.